Alright trainers, welcome to the Choice Specs. This is TaeganAdventures. In my last Choice Specs video I talked about the wild area in the Galar region. It's basically kind of like the equivalent of the Safari Zone. I talked about the potential things that might be improved, as well as a few clips, a few screenshots in the wild area that potentially may hint at some old features or some old conveniences, quality of life improvements in the game. In this video I'm going to talk about Dynamax Pokemon and potentially what they might bring to the lore, to the canon of the Pokemon world, and potentially where they might originate from. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So, Dynamax Pokemon. They're basically supercharged, superpowered, supersized versions of regular Pokemon. In the trailer we see a female trainer sending out a Dynamax Raichu. She was going up against a Dynamax raid boss in a max raid battle. So max raid battle is definitely an exciting way to get Dynamax Pokemon, but I digress. Some of the observant among you may have speculated that Kalos and Galar possibly had a war against each other, particularly the Great War in Kalos that happened 3,000 years before X and Y took place. In Kalos, that led to one man named AZ to create the ultimate weapon, firing it off, and the resulting energy created Mega Evolution. The energy fired off from the ultimate weapon caused certain Pokemon to kind of mutate, evolve, and with the help of some special stones filled with the same energy released by the ultimate weapon, these Pokemon can now Mega Evolve and unlock a greater state of power. To me, as well as some of the trainers watching the Sword and Shield Direct, Dynamax kind of reminds me of Mega Evolution in Pokemon X and Y. Generation 6 did go ham on the Mega Evolutions, and considering that Galar and Kalos, basically France and England, shared a really huge long history about, going to wars together. They were even on the same side during World War II, and they even fought various conflicts among each other during the era of European colonization, the 7 Years' War. Some avid historians among you may have heard, and yeah, some other wars between England and France that possibly served as the inspiration for the Kalos War that happened. It is likely that Kalos was at war with Galar 3,000 years ago, and that same energy from the ultimate weapon could have caused the faraway Pokemon in the Galar region to receive that energy. The blast fired off from the ultimate weapon could have caused the Pokemon in Galar to receive that same energy that created Mega Evolutions, but since the energy probably has dissipated over a large distance, the Galarian Pokemon may not have as great of a response as the Kalos Pokemon. So instead of changing form completely, they just turn really huge and just stay that way. Comparing Dynamax and Mega Evolutions are a much more drastic form change compared to Dynamax. Dynamax is kind of like a size change, almost. We haven't seen enough info to tell us otherwise, but Dynamax is basically kind of like a combination of a size change plus some really powered up moves, which is kind of equivalent to better stats, which power up the moves of the Pokemon that is using it. Mega Evolutions though affects the stats of the Pokemon, but Mega Evolutions actually give the Pokemon a greater advantage, greater power, greater defenses. Dynamax Pokemon may work similarly to Mega Evolutions. It may increase the stats of the Pokemon by a bit, but basically Dynamax and Mega Evolutions are kind of like two sides of the same coin. One of them involves just a size change, blowing up the Pokemon to insane proportions, while Mega Evolutions give the Pokemon a different aesthetic, a different vibe, different stats, but both basically serve the same function of giving Pokemon a power boost, as well as serving as a form of defense. And speaking of a form of defense, what if Kalos had Mega Evolutions defend themselves against Galarian invaders, and what if Galar had these Dynamax Pokemon defend themselves against the Kalos invaders? Basically, the image I'm having in my head right now is Galar's Dynamax Pokemon and Kalos' Mega Pokemon facing off against each other and battling it to the death. And actually, this theory sounds pretty convincing because you need items to trigger both Mega Evolutions and Dynamax. For Mega Evolutions, you need the Mega Ring. For Dynamax Pokemon, you need the Dynamax wristband. So does that mean that Galar would not receive Mega Evolutions because they're only exclusive to Kalos? Possibly, but considering that England and France, well, the UK and France rather, have opened up their borders and basically let loose all their war and military and, navy prowess, especially with the European Union. I know the UK is leaving the European Union, Brexit, shenanigans. But in the modern time, Europe has become especially connected, so who knows, Megastones might be available as an unlockable in the post-game, just like what they did in Generation 7. Maybe Mega Evolutions will not be part of the main story, but instead be available in the post-game. At least that is what I'm hoping for the Pokemon Sword and Shield games. Mega Evolutions were a really fun mechanic to use, and I believe Dynamax would be a really fun mechanic to use once I get used to how it works in the game, how it works competitively, how it works in battle, and whatever other stuff that Dynamax can potentially be used for. Mainly battling, but who knows? The Pokemon Company may take their own liberties with Dynamax Pokemon. Maybe you might need Dynamax Pokemon to get to certain areas in the game, probably as a HM replacement, but that's just my own speculation at this point. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed me rambling about my own thoughts and speculations about Dynamax Pokemon, Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you have any suggestions or ideas of your own, be sure to leave them down in the comments, and I might turn them into videos of my own, of course. Of course, I'll be crediting you if I use your idea in my video. If your ideas are really good, so please drop them down in the comments. If you have any nice topics you want me to cover or theorize or speculate about here on the channel. So I'm gonna be signing off right now. This has been TaeganAdventures. You've just watched the Choice Specs, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Peace out.